welcome to our special Duluth Public Schools Special School Board meeting. This is District ISD 709, and it is Monday, October 23rd. It is 4:33, and I'm going to turn to Clerk Zadowski for roll call.
Member Eder is excused. Member Kirby?
Here.
Member Loeffler-Kemp is excused. Member Lofeld?
Here.
Member Oswald is excused. I am here. And Member Sandholm?
Here.
Superintendent Magus?
Here.
And Deputy Clerk Zunich? Here. And Board Secretary Duquette? Here. Perfect.
So we're all here. We've had the agenda since last Friday, and it is a special school board meeting because I could say there's 2 things on our agenda, but there could be 4 things depending on how you really want to look at the agenda. And they're just really important, timely information that board members need to be aware of and then give permission or not to go forward. So I thank you for coming, and I'm going to just say that we are looking at number 3, the approval of dental plans. And I'm going to turn it over to our financial director, Zunich, for this information on our 2024 dental rate proposed changes and some comparison.
Thank you. I'm here also to represent Executive Director Severance from HR and Benefits, who was not able to be here. So she asked if I would sit in. I happily do so. So we have open enrollment starting on November 1st through the 15th, which is why we asked to present this tonight. And these rates will go in effect as of January 1. Right now, our current dental plan is a $500 annual max plan benefit that includes diagnostic and preventative care. So that all goes to that $500. And it has been in place since I've been here, so I can't speak to how long it's been here before then. So it's been at least 2.5 years. So Benefits has gone out and asked the same carrier with Delta Dental, you know, what can we do better for our employees to improve our benefits? So the proposed from our $500 a month annual max plan would go to now $1,000 a year. And the benefit, the diagnostic and preventative cares would not count towards that $1,000. So that's fantastic. The cost for a basic single plan would go up $7.26. For the basic family coverage, it would go up $15.26. So there is a document that it looks like this that does give you the rate changes. The most important part, I met with Benefits this morning. Please remember, we are self-funded, so we have our Fund 20, and as our claims come in every month, we pay the bill. Now, the question I asked is how many bills do we get a year? And for the basic plan, only 247. It's not like we get, we have 1,600 employees, and it's not like 1,600 employees would be asking for this every month. Out of the entire year, only 247 single plan people went to the dentist. We had to reimburse that. And then from the family side, there were 164. So roughly, a monthly cost would be $1,793 for single, and family would be $1,190. Now, we really can't multiply that by 12 because that is the number for the entire year. And it all depends on what we are getting done at the dentist. So the plan is doubling in strength for what we can offer in benefits to our employees. So it's wonderful. And the rate would be $7.26 for single and $15.76 for family. So we are asking the board for permission to go forward with the new dental plan. And they also provided the Delta Dental benefits comparison in the board book. So they did a nice job of really explaining and everything, but the $500 that we have right now a month a year, only goes, we can't even apply our cleanings to it. I mean, it all goes to that, and then it's wiped out. Where now, it'll be $1,000 a year on top of the cleaning. So it's a
Right.
wonderful benefit, it's a wonderful increase. And they've spoken with Delta Dental. This is the plan we have now, I believe, is outdated. And it's time to
okay.
bring it up to plan. And this is the one that most people carry. I just think it's time. And it is going to be a little bit of a cost to us, but I think it's a wonderful benefit we can offer our employees to say, we really care about you and your teeth. And let's improve the plan. Now, had we not gone with this change, they were going to right-size the plan anyway. I can't give you that dollar amount, what it would have been, but we were going to have to, they were going to increase the premium anyway to us if we stayed at the $500 a year plan. So we would have faced a rate increase anyway.
So to clarify, diagnostic and preventative care was not covered on the other one.
It's part of the $500.
Part of the $500.
But now with the new one, you'll get $1,000 plus, and that piece is separate.
And so it's free, it's part of your plan?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes.
So
Yes.
why isn't this part of negotiations? Why are we looking at this plan like,
Well,
I would have thought that we would be
Dental's
asking.
separate from,
Oh, okay.
It's a-
so teachers have to choose to opt into dental, it's not part of the regular or the comprehensive health plan,
That's
So-
a great question, and I asked the
I
same
didn't
thing.
know that, but
And normally you'd go like through a union process, but they're doing open enrollment starting November 1. And, negotiations still are happening.
yes, yeah.
So, and we do have a separate fund for our dental, Fund 20, so it's
Okay,
different
okay.
here. Normally, yes, that would be the process, and I believe Teresa has run that by, at least one of the unions,
Well,
so.
I would think that most of our
Yes,
unions
and
would
it's-
appreciate this.
yes.
I know.
And there is not an increase on the single plan, it does not increase to the employee, it increases on our side. But a family coverage, it's an $8 increase per month for family coverage. $3 an increase to the employee if you use the Premier single. And $13.13 increase per month if you use the Premier family coverage. So you have options, like you do your basic, and you can do your basic family, or you go to Premier, and you do have to pay that, your part for that.
And I think part of the conversation did come up partially through negotiations. There was a group that was asking for more dental coverage, and we said, well, actually, we're looking for improved dental coverage for everybody. And so we figured it was something that we could bring that would just be better for employees in general.
In general.
And thinking about it, I've seen a number of people come back to the district from other districts where they've gone to maybe a neighboring district and decided to come back, or came to us because our benefits are better. I've heard from neighboring districts, especially if you have a family plan, people are much better here in Duluth than they are in some of our neighboring districts. And so I think having a very comprehensive benefits package is one of the things that brings higher quality employees to us and keeps them here.
So with this, I'm in favor of this, I can't speak for every board member, but with this, from this closed meeting, do we vote on this here? Or do we put it on our school board agenda? No, we vote on it
Vote on
tonight.
it.
Okay,
So somebody needs an answer.
Right,
Might be
because,
the-
because it opens November 1st,
yeah,
yeah.
open enrollment starts November 1st, and when Director Severance came to me and I said, well, we technically should really run this by the school board. Just to make sure we keep everyone informed
And this, so if the board passes this, does every employee get a little sheet of paper that they check, either they want the first one or the Premier one?
Yes, that will be handled through benefits,
Okay,
yes.
and if they don't check?
That's what open enrollment is for. So then during open enrollment, during those 15 days, that's when you can go in and say, well, now I don't want basic single, I want to go to basic Premier single. But you have only those 15 days to do it. So that's why we wanted to bring it to you to make sure you're aware of it.
And then if they don't address it, because when in other years, if you don't address it, you just stay the same.
That's right, until the next.
But that option for dental is going away, so they wouldn't stay at the 500 old one, because isn't our dental, so wouldn't they just be grandfathered into kind of the comparable one they have, or the basic?
Yes, the basic. So,
Okay.
but during open enrollment, they can decide to go to the Premier
Mhm,
plan,
mhm.
yes. And they did put some key points, I can read them. The district is still following the same model of payment as previous years. The basic single coverage is covered at no cost to the employee, and the employee is responsible for paying any costs in excess of that paid by the district. By removing the diagnostic and preventative care from applying to the annual max, we are improving the value of the benefit immensely for the employee. And the dental plan improvements are something that are often requested by our employees, to the superintendent's point. And regardless if we improved our coverage as proposed, Delta Dental's suggested equivalency rates for our current plan had increased. So they were going up anyway, but by doing this now, we really have a nice product.
So how much is it costing us? I mean, all these,
So for
The total.
single, $7.26.
right, but what does that amount to in terms of?
Well, we're self-funded, so it's hard. It depends on usage.
So how much did it cost last time? You said there were so many visits, but that doesn't.
247
Visits, but
visits,
that
so,
could be $5 a visit or $1,000.
exactly, and it changes every month.
So
So
do we
what-
know what it was though in general?
So what I did, because I knew you guys were gonna ask this question, so.
We talked about it before.
Yeah, so our coverage, so we had 247 single dental plans. And, with the rate increase, and in my head, like finance, I wanna multiply it by 12, what the monthly rate is times 12, but you can't really, because some months could be $5. So if I multiplied the rate times 12, it's $21,516 that would cost the district. But it's not a true number because, as you said, sometimes you go in and you're just, it's $5. Some days you go in, it could be $1,000. But we had 247 claims, basic single claims last year.
That's really low for as many employees as
low.
we have.
It is
So
low.
do
And
a number of our employees not opt to take dental through us? They opt for dental somewhere else?
If they go
Yeah.
through a
another
spouse or
spouse.
someone. And then that was single, and then 164 family. So of course, my finance mind, I wanna multiply it by the increase times 12, well, that's $14,280. So, but it's really not apples to apples.
Did we get any feedback from the DFT on
I think
this?
they're big, I think basically we're significantly increasing people's benefit for no cost to them, so
For a single,
for single, so I think they're in favor. I don't know that we've heard from them directly, but I think Teresa did talk to them.
I'm conscious of our time, but so can you use your whole $1,000? So can I go and get my teeth cleaned 3 times, or, if it covers that kind of basic cleaning and what else, some kind of x-ray, could you use that $1,000 before it starts coming out of your other pocket, or whatever? You see what I mean?
We have Delta Dental through St. Luke's, and no, it's every 6 months or.
Yeah.
Yes,
X-rays
that's,
once
I
every-
have to
yeah.
go
Twice
for
a
my cleaning twice a year. I
Okay,
have to think
okay.
what you're saying, but yes, that's right, I can only go every 6 months.
Okay, I got that, you're right, okay.
Do we provide orthodontic?
We do not.
Yeah, and you can see that in some of the other columns. They don't cover it at all, even if you got Premier?
Let's see, Premier, fillings, root extraction.
And normally, they don't cover
Yeah.
all of it anyway.
No,
And
they
it's
don't,
pretty
yeah.
common not to
Yeah,
have it.
because a lot of times you can flex for it. That's what I did.
Yeah,
That's where I got orthodontist.
I'm done on Wednesday, Jupiter's getting their braces off on Wednesday.
That's great.
Any other questions?
Before we vote,
I support this.
Yeah, I support it.
before we vote on this, I just want to point out, because I was notified by our other board member who was hoping to participate, Member Oswald, that there was a mix-up on my part, for not having a virtual link. She would have been participating and wanted to participate, but that was a mix-up on my end, so. She just wanted that noted for the public.
Okay. So are we ready to vote?
Sure.
So all those in favor of accepting our 2024 dental rate proposed, the changes, and allow them to go forward to present that and have it at open enrollment on November 1st to the 15th. So all those in favor say aye. Or, yeah,
We need a motion.
oh, that's right. That was the motion, that we go
Aye.
forward with 2024 dental comparison. Is there a second? Or dental changes?
Second.
Member Sandholm is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4-0.
I'm excited.
And then our next agenda item on this special school board meeting is an RFPs for architectural services for our DNT building. It's number 4 on the agenda. I'll turn it over to Facilities Director Brian Brown.
We put an RFP out, 315, for architectural services for the DNT building. It was strictly for design and drawings. We kept that separate from the engineers because a lot of times one company will include everything and there's no responsibility there. They blame it off on each other, and there's not as much credibility that they have to stand up to. And a lot of times there's gray areas when they have all encompass, because they can hide little pots of bills here and there, and you don't really know the change orders, things like that. When you go with separate with the architectural and engineer, the change orders are much less. And you have to, the party that made a mistake has to be responsible for it. So that's why we split them up. We did go with Miller out of St. Cloud, MBJ, which is in Duluth, I think Hermantown maybe, LHB, which is in downtown Duluth, DSGW, which is downtown Duluth, and we had an inquiry from the paper from Wendell, which is Metro. I have not worked with, I've worked with DSGW up here on this project. I have worked on a lot of projects with Miller. They are 5-state wide area. They did a lot of schools stuff for us when I was in St. Cloud. They did some work for me when I was in Fridley. MBJ did not submit a bid. They no longer are in architectural services. They're strictly in engineering now. And LH&B, I did a little bit of work with him years ago when I was in St. Cloud, but not very familiar with them. The lowest bid that we got was from Wendell, was $167,800 with some reimbursables. He did not include any mileage for reimbursables. I've never worked with that company, and by visiting with some other schools that have worked with them, they did not really recommend that we would go with them. So he was the lowest. LHB was the highest. So if you eliminate the lowest and the highest, we're down to Miller and DSGW.
GW, yeah.
They are about $48,000 a piece. I know that the board in the past likes to deal with local vendors. So if my recommendation is that we would go with Miller. I'm very confident with them. I've worked with them, like I said, many projects, and they go all over the state of Minnesota. If you want to stay somebody local, it's going to cost you $48,000 more. So I'm very confident with Miller, but it's up to the board's decision what they choose to do.
Does Miller come in and use any of our local workers? Or do they come in
Yes.
with,
What we will do is we will go out for bid with, it'll be advertised in the paper, it'll be for local or out of town. And, most of the time it's the local workers that get the bids, cause they don't have the travel expenses.
so we're looking, you're asking us to look at Miller for the design and the drawing.
Correct.
Who did we just approve RFP for?
That was for the
Yeah, right.
construction
That's right. And
services.
managing the whole project. That
Right.
was-
It's IS.
ICS, okay.
And ICS has worked with
That's my question.
With-
Have they worked with?
all these, they've done a lot of projects with Miller.
Okay.
Matter of fact, that we had ICS in St. Cloud, we had ICS in Fridley, and they worked with them there. ICS has worked with LHB, and they've worked a lot with DSGW. They have not done a lot of work with Wendell. And when we reviewed these and went over them, it didn't sound like they were really the top quality kind of place that we want to work with, so.
Tell me again how much, in design and drawing, which is what Miller's gonna do, how many workers will they need to do that? It seems to me like if we go with Miller for the design and drawing, seems to me it would be like 3 people looking at and then drawing it
There'll
out.
be a project manager,
Okay,
and then there's usually a lead architect and their design team. It all depends, they'll come in for finishes and for the carpeting and for what kind of
oh,
lighting.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, oh,
They cover all that. The engineering which will be the next RFP, that's mainly for any structural things that have to be done. They do the engineering for that, they do the drawings for that. They do the drawings for your heat plant, for all your air handling systems, your control systems. That's all on engineering. Also, if there was any civil, which there is no civil there because we're not doing anything outside, but they would take care of that. We got some very good vendors, worked with a lot of them, of all these companies, but I really would recommend Miller because they are $48,000 cheaper.
and why? Why do you think, what makes the difference between LGB's, or DSGW's bid and Miller? What in $48,000? Is it just that DSGW pays their workers more?
I'm gonna be totally honest with you.
I love
They
that.
designed this building, and I don't think they did a very good job.
Okay,
There's some things that were missed, and I was just not impressed when we would go to the construction meetings, which we'll have a construction meeting every week, and I was not really impressed with them.
okay,
That's just my opinion though.
okay. It's not what I just, like if you could say to me 48,000 is because they
Right.
hire instead of 16 workers that Miller might hire, DSGW for whatever reason hires 24. They don't need 24, maybe,
They both,
Just-
the way they do it, they both have about the same amount of team members that do this.
Okay. Other questions?
Is there a process for, I think the answer is probably no, I think this, but like, is there a process to go back to a lower bid? If you, like, let's say, take these two off the table, just like, oh, this one was a little higher, but we wanna work with them. Hey, can you meet us halfway kind of thing? Is that ever a part of these processes or not?
I don't think that on sealed bids. I think if
Yeah,
there were
that's
quotes,
That's what I was thinking, but I just wanted to
if
ask.
they're quotes, you
because-
can do that, but not on a sealed bid.
Thank you.
But your opinion was that DSGW didn't design this building? What building are you talking about?
I just was not real impressed the way that they did some things.
Here, in this
Yes,
building,
yeah.
okay.
Did they do all these buildings up here?
Mhm.
DSGW did. Okay. How closely does ICS work with architecture? I mean, in terms of making sure everything's
Well,
coming out right,
when
we're not
IC
cutting corners or
they-
whatever.
no, they're supposed to be responsible for that.
Mhm.
Again, I can't blame it all on the architects or how it was designed is because the person that designed this building no longer works for the district. And so I think, just from the history that I've heard, that she had her own little mindset, the way things should have been, and nobody else was included. When we do the D&T, I've already sent out questionnaires to all the departments on what do you need? How many class sizes do you need? How many offices do you need? How many private offices do you need? How many cubicles do you need? How many parking spaces you think you're gonna need? A big, huge, long spreadsheet I sent out to all the departments to fill out. Because I'm planning on meeting with our team, which will be ICS, whoever architectural is, and whoever engineering is next week, and bring the whole team together to meet down there to get everybody's encompass ideas immediately. And then we're gonna have a meeting with the whole team, with the different departments, to bring forward what they think their design should look like. And they're gonna be part of that. I'm asking for 2 members of each department to be part of that design team. Any more than 2, you don't get nothing solved. So 2 members of each department, all work together to get what the real need is for this building.
Are architectural firms unionized?
I don't believe so. I think that they're all privately owned.
But
And they don't have a
if
union?
Miller comes in, if we accept Miller's bid, don't they then, if they need, what possibly, who do they, where do they go to hire locally, what do they need? I mean, we have no clue, but you know, the question that, all of us ask, because we have such a strong community of our community that supports things that we do, but they like us to use union workers whenever we can.
Oh, yeah, and that will not be on Miller to hire them people, that'll be with us and ICS, yes. They are just basically gonna do the design and the drawings, and then they will come to, I wouldn't say that they're gonna come to every single construction meeting, but they'll be patched in remotely on some of them, but we require them to have a presence at every single meeting. So if there's any questions or any change orders, we have to go out for them to come up with a solution.
So like for this building, ICS was able to hire, I think 99.7% was union labor, and the only 0.03% or 0.3% was when there was one related to refrigeration where there was no union bidder, and they searched for union people and we couldn't find union people. And so nobody offered to do the work. We couldn't get the work done by the union, so we had to have it done. That was the only time. Oh, but that did result.
But we had to answer those questions, which is fine. I mean, I don't think, once they got their questions answered about why that happened. And, you know, my takeaway too is I certainly am going to support your recommendations as one board member anyway, because you really, you know your job. That's what we hired you for. But I do appreciate when you have meetings with ICS, that we can at least have an initial meeting with them as well, as we did when we started this building. And then, you know, just any time you feel like, you know, the school board's gonna get a pushback because of something, because I know ICS now as the project manager, right? That's what we call them. You know, they can't come to us for every time they're gonna go and hire this group to do this project, but just kind of a heads up would be great. I think for a while, for much of the time, Pat was giving us about a monthly update about what was progressing, and that was nice too.
And they
We
will.
have something similar for this project.
Does the bids have to have a separate vote on each bid? So we would vote on whether to accept Miller as this
I
bid?
believe so, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so more questions or?
And I guess my understanding is too that, you know, these architectural bids from Miller and others are for the inside
Correct.
units or the walls of, and how we would have, you know, redesign the inside of that
Correct.
facility. We're not looking at changing outside shape or structure.
The only thing that there was a couple staff members that said, it would be nice to cut a couple more windows in,
Right.
but we are not looking at that at this time.
Right, okay.
The structure of the building is very good. We've had a structural engineer take a look at it, give us a report.
Okay,
It came out,
and so then, from your experience, because I don't think any of us have the experience with something like this, you know, for the square footage and for what we're looking for, you know, are these bids in line with
Yes.
something that you've seen in the
Yep.
past? And so the Miller bid is, you know,
Miller bid and they were asked to bid on a project between $6 and $7 million.
Mhm.
And Miller figures that they did not bid on the whole $6 million. They bid it on what they thought would be under theirs. So they're actually, their percentage was higher, but their money was lower because they were only bidding on like $2 or $3 million of it instead of the 6 million. But all the rest of them came in really close.
So are you saying that they're only gonna do half the work?
No, they're gonna do all the work, but when they look at the $6 million, they know that they're not gonna have anything to do with the engineering part of it, the
Okay.
drawings on that. They're not gonna have anything to do with,
The oversight that ICS is doing.
yeah,
You know, so,
the
yeah,
right, the managing it, the engineering on all facets of the engineering. There was a few companies that did request that if they could team up with the engineering, and we didn't allow that. I said, if they get the architectural, they'll not get the same company won't get the,
Okay.
engineering. We wanna keep them separate.
And this isn't on our agenda for tonight, but that, you know, with Simone here, so you're hoping to target 6 to 7 million for the DNT remodel?
Over 5 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
in
And it's-
phases.
And it's hard to say. It's the supply chain for one thing, and what prices are gonna be, and what is the inflation gonna come down? I mean, right now, we're paying premium for everything, if you can get it. So,
Are we doing this work on DNT in phases? So is this, okay,
yes, we will have phase 1 done, which is mainly offices on the lower level. That will be done, and they will be moving in there middle of August next year. And then, the plan is to have the rest of it done by August the following year for ALC and all the rest of the programs to move in. The adult ed, there was some talk about being able to have that ready for adult ed, have a temporary spot for them. But through my 30-some years of doing this, you can't teach classes while you're doing construction. It just doesn't work. The offices are gonna be separate, they can close their doors. You might hear a little bit of a hammer drill once in a while or a saw cutting, but it's not like when you're in a big classroom and you hear that stuff constantly. It's just not, and they'd be in a temporary spot, they would have to move them out again. So that's not, and they have 3 more years left on their lease, so we'll have it ready for them.
So just for clarity, I think you said it, but so this architectural bid from Miller and others is for everything inside.
Entire phase, all 3
You know,
phases.
even though we're
All
only
three
gonna do it in
phases.
phases, but there will be a plan to work off of or to work
Yep.
with, over a 6-year phase, if that's the direction it takes. Okay.
Yes.
I'm not understanding why the apples and oranges with the bids. Like, why aren't they the same?
It all depends on what they feel they can do it, and you know, Wendell being down in the Twin Cities, I think it's pretty competitive down there, so they're bidding pretty low.
I just meant between, let me look at my notes here, Miller and DSGW, those two specifically, you were saying that Miller, the percentage was higher, but, you know, they only bid on a percentage of the job.
No, they did 100% of the job,
Okay.
but they didn't put an accelerator in or any other that they know they're not gonna be part of. They bid it on just, so we asked for a percentage and a solid dollar amount. So the dollar amount is what really we were using.
Okay.
For the whole project. I will tell you that LHB put an accelerator in theirs, and that just, that for one thing, that's not what we asked for in the RFP. And they kind of just, I talked to Kevin and he just, oh, this is the way we're gonna do it, and it's like, you're blowing yourself right out of the water. Because, like I said, who knows what's gonna be down the road. And like I said, most of the time, the architectural stuff will be done, 99% of it will be done within the first 9 months. And then it's just, if there's a change order or a special drawing we need, they come back. Otherwise, design and they get everything pretty much picked out within the first 9 months of the project. Now, engineering, that goes a little bit farther.
I would go with Miller. I mean, I think if they're known to you and they're renowned throughout 5 states.
And like I said, ICS has used them quite a bit also, so.
And they work with ICS.
Yeah.
Yep, I support that as well. So,
We need a motion.
I need a motion.
I'll make the motion then that we choose Miller for our architectural services for the DMT building.
And so Member Sandholm has made the motion. Is there a second?
One second.
Member Kirby's made the second. So all those in favor of accepting the architectural service for the DNT building vendor Miller? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. That brings us to our number 5 on our agenda today. It is the engineering services for the DNT building. And again, I'll look for Brian Brown to just walk us through that.
Again, this is for architectural. It was pretty simple. We had 3 vendors respond to the RFP. Design Tree, which is out of St. Cloud. I've worked with them all over. They are fantastic. Every time I've done a project, they've always come in lower than everybody, and we always come within the budget. I've never had a budget overrun with them. So I love working with them guys. CMTA is the engineering firm that ICS usually uses. They've started using Design Tree more because Design Tree comes in with better pricing. Like I said, ICS has been using both of them. They're confident with both of them, but Mike Dolson from ICS said that, yeah, definitely go with Design Tree since they're the lowest, and they're very confident in their work. We did have the third one, Hallberg and Associates out of the Twin Cities. They inquired about it and they came and looked at the building, but after reviewing their workload, they decided they can't fit it in their schedule because we're doing a very aggressive schedule with this so we can get this done. So they turned a no bid in.
Do you feel it's unusual that we've only got, even in the other bid process that we got so few, or is this pretty standard?
It all depends on,
Timing.
getting what the market is right now. There's a lot of companies, there's a lot of building going on. I mean, just around here, you see all the apartment buildings and things going on. A lot of firms can't take on more work. They don't have the people like they used to. So my recommendation is definitely to go with Design Tree.
So again, I'll ask the question, are these what you would expect within the square footage and the
Yes.
the size and shape
Yep.
of that building?
Yep.
With what we should see or expect from
Yep.
what we're asking them to do?
And we put this bid out for anyone to bid on, right?
Paper,
So
it was
locally,
advertised for
because
2
I'm
weeks. Yep.
just noticing there's no Duluth firms that bid on it, so just wanted to make sure.
And like I said, it was in the paper for 2 weeks and we advertised it and we just didn't get we had a lot of inquiries about it. But a couple of them did come and take a tour and they just said it's not really what they're looking for working on, so.
In design, I did Google both of these, the Miller, well, all of them before I came to, and I think it was Design Tree that, has done a lot of school buildings down around our area and down by the metro, and it looks, they all look beautiful. Did they just do the St. Cloud, the new St. Cloud building, or was that Miller?
That was
St. Cloud Tech?
actually,
That had to be either Design Tree or Miller, I think,
No,
'cause-
well,
Okay,
no, it wasn't, it was, can't think of
okay,
his
that's
name.
okay, I
But
thought
it
I
was,
saw that
it was another company.
Okay,
I was part of that selection, and we interviewed 7 different architects for that, and we interviewed them, they came and gave us their presentations, and it was a long process to get, but they went with the same company that designed Alexandria's new high schools.
And so again, can you tell me what engineering services are, what do they do for it? What are they gonna be doing for this project?
They're gonna be doing all the first thing, they're gonna come in and they're gonna size up what size, cause we're gonna convert the building from steam to hot water, and I can tell you a little bit about that later, but, so they'll come in and do the calculations for what size, conversion we need. And then they will come in and they will, work with the architects for the structural, the walls, and make sure that everything is engineered out properly. Bathrooms, that they're engineered properly for the plumbing specs and all that. So it really encompasses electrical, it encompasses any structural, it encompasses any mechanical. And I'm forgetting one, let me check.
Well, you said plumbing already.
Yeah, plumbing, electrical.
Yeah, I was just going through my house, what else is in there?
Well, that gives me a baseline,
Yes.
Is there air handler changes?
I never-
going on there?
Yep.
That's a really
Plumbing,
good summary.
anything with air handlers, mechanical systems, controls, anything like that.
Okay.
They design that, they draw it out, and they implement it.
Okay.
They're probably I feel more important than architects, but I come from an engineering world, so. Like I said, it's anything engineering that encompasses anything part of engineering. They'll come up with the light schemes, what kind of lighting we're gonna put in there, and we're gonna try and make this building as energy efficient as possible. So we're already looking at a company that John has brought forward, Bright Schools, I believe it's called. And we're looking at doing a project with them, having them work on this project to actually save us a lot of money that we actually get payback from it. So we're also, part of this is the building right now is on steam, and we're gonna convert it to hot water, the whole building. So I talked to Duluth Energy, and we can get a lot of the equipment free of charge. We just have to pay to have it installed. They will supply a shell and tube converter that goes from steam to hot water, so the steam heats up the hot water for in the building, it's all closed loop. And then next year, they are gonna be bringing hot water down First Avenue for the buildings across the street.
Yeah,
And so they're gonna pipe hot water into the D&T free of charge, because they want us to convert and be more green.
Yeah.
And so they will give us a different heat exchanger. We'll go to what they call a plate and frame, which is even more efficient. And that's what we'll be putting in there. And it'd be very low cost for the district.
Any other questions or concerns? So I need a motion to accept the RFP for engineering services.
I'll make that motion to accept.
So Member Zadowski makes the motion, do I have a second? Member Kirby makes the second, so this is a vote for awarding the engineering services for the DNT building to Design Tree. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Seeing no other items on our agenda today, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.